Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. We're so excited to have all of you. And just a reminder, the Girls Who Start mission is to inspire middle school, high school, and college girls to become entrepreneurs and leaders. And we do this by showcasing female entrepreneurs and talking about their journeys. We have over 30 chapters across the country and internationally. And just a reminder that if you're interested in starting a chapter or you know someone who may be interested in starting a chapter, please feel free to reach out through the Girls Who Start website or Instagram, which I will put in the chat in just a moment. I'm so excited for our speaker today, and I'm going to pass it on to Brielle to introduce Jasmine Jones. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, Jasmine. Jasmine Jones is the founder and CEO of Cherry Blossom Intimates, a first-of-its-kind breast health facility and intimates boutique. A Forbes 30 Under 30 list maker and former Miss District of Columbia, USA, Jasmine believes in the power of intimates, innovation, and inclusion. Inspired by her grandmother's battle with breast cancer, Jasmine joined Dr. Regina Hampton to co-found Cherry Blossom Intimates to address the challenge of finding well-fitting post-mastectomy prosthetics that matched a full range of skin tones. Cherry Blossom Intimates is a place where any woman, no matter her size or breast cancer stage, can feel beautiful and shop for intimates. Jasmine is also passionate about helping people achieve their potential. She is the vice president of the Young Professional Advisory Council of Breast Care for Washington and the founder and president of the Global Literacy Initiative, an organization that seeks to improve the lives of children through the eradication of illiteracy and the facilitation of a modern love for reading in order for every child to have quality educational tools in their homes. Jasmine's accomplishments include the titles of Miss District of Columbia 2016 and Miss Black District of Columbia, USA. She received a bachelor's degree in business administration and entrepreneurship from Trinity Washington University in Washington, D.C., and speaks fluent French. Ariel is going to ask Jasmine some questions, and then we will open it up to the group for questions. And just a reminder to everyone that this meeting is recorded.
Hi, Jasmine. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, of course. So my first question for you is, where did you grow up and how did your childhood influence where you are now?
I grew up in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. And, I feel that when I was young and probably your age, I knew what I wanted to be and I knew the type of person and woman that I wanted to grow up to be. So a lot of my experience and the things I chose to do in my life sort of led me to this path. And in retrospect, I realized that it wasn't having it in my mind's eye when I was in your grades, middle school, high school, early college, that kind of set me up to be this way. But I was like super nerdy. I would read books all the time. Me and my friends would have Harry Potter book reading competitions because they were like so thick. But we like really I think embrace the fact that we all were just super passionate about being smart and being educated. And at a really young age, I knew I wanted to have a business. I wasn't sure what type it was going to be. I figured it was going to be a store of some type. But I feel like all those roads kind of led to me being the person that I am now.
So can you tell us the background behind the founding of Cherry Blossom Intimates and why you really founded it?
Right. So Cherry Blossom Intimates offers completely customizable, fully insurance billable breast prosthetics for breast cancer survivors. So we use 3D printing to build a prosthetic breast out of medical grade silicone that looks like the breast that a survivor had before she went through her experience of breast cancer. And I remember my grandmother's shopping experience right after her diagnosis for post-mastectomy bras and prosthetics. And it was always really crummy. It was in like medical supply stores that look like pharmacies. There are aisles of bedpans and walkers and Bengay and adult diapers. And that's where she was supposed to shop. But me and my sisters were able to shop in like Victoria's Secret. And I remember thinking like, why isn't anyone considering the fact that there are women out here who've lived through this experience, survived it, have moved on in their life, and don't want to be treated like a patient forever? Why are they reminded of this cancer experience just because they need a new bra? So I put that in the back of my mind. But when I was in college, I read a petition for Victoria's Secret to acknowledge breast cancer. And 130 something thousand women signed it. And Victoria's Secret replied that they would not be making a breast cancer bra, and they would not be promoting any kind of breast cancer awareness in their stores because they felt that they did enough by donating to breast cancer organizations. So 135,000 women who signed it, I remember thinking like they should kind of stop begging, like, and just start their own. Mind you, I'm in college. I'm like eating ramen out of a coffee pot. Like, I have no way of doing this on my own, but I'm like, yeah, somebody should really do something about that. It sucks. But this company is not going to do it. Fast forward a few years later, I was Miss DC, and my makeup artist had breast cancer. And she asked if I would support her in a 5K, and I did. And when I was at the 5K, I met Dr. Hampton, and she told me about the experience that her patients were having of going to these medical supply stores. And all these memories came flooding back of my grandmother and of the petition and of me thinking, well, someone should do something. And then I paired that with my education and my background and the work that I was doing. And I started giving Dr. Hampton advice. I was like, well, I would do it this way and this way and this way. And eventually she and I decided to just open something. It took a long time. It felt like a long time. It took maybe about a year and a half for it to go from idea to a signed lease to being prepared to move into a space. And it took about 2 full years from idea to execution.
So a lot of people have ideas, but never really know how to start. And I know that you touched on this a little bit, but what really spurred you to start and take action with your idea?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think definitely seeing my grandmother live through it. She eventually passed away. So knowing that there was no option for her that she ever got a chance to see in her life, that was better. That was motivating for me. Another thing that was motivating was the time period that I met Dr. Hampton and that we decided to go into business. It was just the right time. I was working at a job that was flexible because of my title as Miss DC. I could work remotely. So I knew that I didn't have a lot of time, but I could sacrifice some sleep. I could wake up early. I could be super dedicated, and I could start building something at the same time as working a full-time job. It was not a good idea for me to just quit a job and just try to start a business because they cost so much more than you think. Like, everything costs so much more than you plan for. But right around that time in my life, it just felt like, okay, if I'm not going to launch, I need to pick something else. And I was at a cusp where I was debating about going to get my MBA or starting a business. And I said, you know what, instead of spending this money to get my MBA, I'll put this money into my first business. And that's what I did.
Amazing. So my next question is, how did you develop the technology to 3D print these prosthetics? And also, can you tell us about the contactless app? And also, where do you want to take this next?
Right. So a little bit of a hack. You don't have to always invent things. So for us, we work with a manufacturer that builds a lot of different body parts, but we use them specifically for breasts. And that proved advantageous for us because when we started looking at startup costs to manufacture all of this in-house and to build it in the United States and to have it working, in Maryland in a warehouse, it was just going to eat up all of our cash. So we found a company that specialized in a lot of different body parts, and we use them specifically for breast, and that has worked for us. But I think probably textbook, people would have just said, oh, do it yourself. And we priced that out, and it just would have taken forever. So that was that. The contactless app kind of came across when we were going through the global health pandemic, and I was wondering what we were going to be able to do to survive. If we were never able to touch a breast cancer survivor ever again. Like, you guys all remember this and it seems super fresh, but like, you're living in really crazy times right now. And before all of this, like, our business model was that we were going to go have a pop-up and pop up across the nation. It was going to be great. And then 2020 happened and I was like, oh, we'll probably just be shut down for like 2 weeks and get back to normal. But that didn't happen. So during the pandemic, I had to sort of figure out what would I do if I could never fit a breast cancer survivor in a fitting room. And that spurred the innovation for the contactless app and allowing a woman to be able to fit herself from the comfort of her cell phone. And we're in beta for that, but we see it on the horizon as a very near approaching rollout.
That's great. And my next question, so you're a part of the Techstars Accelerator. Can you tell us what an accelerator is and how you became a part of it, and also what were the benefits of it?
Techstars was the best thing that ever happened to my business. 100%. So an accelerator is, it's a program that you're placed in where you're selected from people who also compete. And they place you in this very strict, hard, almost like business boot camp. For us, it was remote because of COVID, but typically you live in the same place that you work. And it's like a business boot camp that's supposed to accelerate your business. So I went into it saying, I want to come out the Lululemon of breast prosthetics. And what I found out was that I'm actually the Warby Parker of boobs, which is something that we started saying. But they placed you with experts who know about your business and who teach you how to perfect it very honestly. And then in the middle of the program is something called Mentor Madness. So you meet with 90 different CEOs, CTOs, Chief Innovative Officers, Chief Marketing Officers, and you tell them about your business. And you get 20 minutes one-on-one with them. And I had such a great experience from that 11 of those mentors wanted to invest in my company, and 7 of them actually did invest in my company. So within 30 days after completing the accelerator, I raised $1.25 million just from that experience. So I'd highly recommend, if you have a tech company or if you're looking at having a tech-backed startup, look into an accelerator program, because even if you just have an idea, it can help you to propel it really, really, really fast. So, and then when I apply, I was just myself. So you create like this 1-minute video, and most people like sit in front of their computer and like, hi, I'm Jasmine, this is my company. But instead I did it like Cribs. Do you guys remember MTV Cribs? Have you seen flashbacks of it? Yes, I see some people nodding. Okay, so Cribs used to be like celebrities will let you walk through their house of a camera crew. So I did it like that for my pitch video. So instead of a 1-minute boring video, I was like, hi, Techstars, welcome to my business. And I like toured them through the space while telling them about the concept that we have and the mission that we have. And it was so different that they liked it a whole lot. So I'd recommend, if you're ever applying for a program, just try to think really outside the box and be a lot of fun. Sort of like, you've seen Legally Blonde. Yes. Okay. You know, when Elle Woods is like doing her Harvard video application in the pool, like you want whatever your application to be like just super, super cool and different, because that's how people will remember you. And I think setting myself apart in that kind of way helped me to get into the program.
Adding on to that a little bit, I know that you recently raised capital to expand your company. Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Yes. So I met with those really great mentors, and I did not know that a lot of them were venture capitalists at the time, or looking to invest, or wanting to introduce me to a company that they were familiar with that would potentially invest in me. But my experience with raising money is very different from the norm. I have friends right now who have had 200 meetings, no joke, 200 meetings and haven't raised any money. So it was really fortunate for me, I think, in the way that my experience fleshed through, but it is typically abnormal. But you will hear a lot of no's before you hear yeses. When it comes to asking people to give you their money and not have a deadline as to when they're going to ever see it come back. So they're just sort of trusting that you'll be a great founder and that the business will be successful, but there's no guarantee.
What have been some of the high and low points of running your company?
Oh, the low points. I'll start there. And I like to say like the challenges, but then give a solution, because a lot of times people ask founders like, what was the hardest part? And then you tell them, they tell you, and then like that was it. So challenges that I had to overcome, everything was really expensive. And I spent up almost all my personal savings to get the business off the ground before we started fundraising. So that was really hard. I would definitely recommend going into business always knowing that it's going to cost more than you think. So ask for at least a third extra. So if you think you need $10, ask whoever is giving it to you for 13, because you'd rather have that extra 3 in your account than to look at it after you've spent 9 and feel really, terrible. So everything was more expensive. We had a lot of issues with our landlord too. So I would probably recommend that people just be very careful signing leases, and then around the idea of having a brick and mortar store, just because as you look towards the future, it might not be necessary. And I see a lot of companies who've invested more heavily in online experiences, and they have just as great of returns. Some of the best parts of running the business, I have a picture of my grandmother that hangs in the boutique. And whenever people are like, she'd be so proud of your legacy, or this is such a great tribute, that's always really nice. I like it when, it's kind of funny, but we get a lot of tears, like happy tears in our fitting rooms. So that lets me know that we're doing the right thing, that women feel that they're seen and acknowledged, and that we're including them. And I like the fact that I get to be a fashion designer. I've created my own line of post-mastectomy bras, so I can say, okay, I design. And I also get to be as big of a nerd as I want to be, and nobody can tell me not to, because I'm the boss. So.
And so I guess a really relevant question, how has the coronavirus affected your company?
Oh, shutting down was so hard for us. So the women that we touch are breast cancer survivors, so they're often immunocompromised. So we knew we had to be super careful. And I know that I couldn't sleep at night if I found out my boutique gave someone COVID. So we actually closed our doors the day before the state mandated us to, just out of an abundance of caution. And it was really scary. I had to lay off some team members. I had to furlough some team members. I had to decide who could stay and help me to process online orders. But the challenge also presented a really big opportunity for us to pivot the brand to virtual. And that was the lifeblood of the future of the company. So it's kind of been crazy that it's been so hurtful, but it's also been really helpful. And I won a few pivot competitions and grant money, just free money, because of the great ideas that we had. So for that, it's been helpful.
That's amazing. And so what's one of the favorite products that you've developed, and maybe why?
Ooh, I just designed a line of post-mastectomy bras, and I just got the samples back this week. They're really nice. Designed them from my mind and put them on paper, and they're real, which is crazy. But I named them after my grandmother and her sisters. So each bra is named after her sisters, or their middle names, in a really cool way. And I tried to include a lot of special, beautiful features with the bra. So I think that's been the most exciting part. And going to New York and riding in the taxis and picking up fabric and working with fit models, that's been really enriching.
Looking forward, what are some of your hopes and dreams for your company in the future?
I see us being a global direct-to-consumer brand. So just like Warby Parker, but for boobs, just like Glossier, but for bras. I see us stepping into this next year and really expanding and having a global presence. That's my goal.
Sorry. And so my last question is, what's some advice that you wish you were given when you first started your company?
Ooh, I have a lot of deep advice and then some not so deep advice. One is protect the ownership of your company. So be careful about 50-50 partnerships. Be careful about inviting people in to have ownership of your company without doing a lot of work. I'd be really careful about that. You guys are young, so you have an opportunity to do this ahead of time, but just really protect your personal credit, because banks look at that as whether or not they can trust you. So definitely protect your personal credit. I would say follow and do something that is really encouraging and motivating for you, but just know that that's not the final motivator. That's not going to be a thing that gets you up at night. So people always say oh, live your passion, follow your dreams, it'll never feel like work. That is a lie. Okay. Don't believe when anybody says that. That just makes you feel ultra guilty when you don't feel like doing it. And you're like, oh man, that's my passion, but like I'm exhausted. So no, you need something that like takes you a little bit beyond that. So don't rely heavily on that. And just know it takes a lot of work and personal sacrifice. And it will be really hard for the first 2 years. And then it gets a little easier until it can stand on its own.
Well, thank you so much, Jasmine. I'm now going to open it up for a Q&A. So just feel free to type your name in the chat and I'll call on you to ask your question. And if you don't feel comfortable asking your question, just feel free to type it in the chat and I'll read it out loud. And also we may not get to everyone's questions, but we'll try our best.
Okay, I really am an open book and I'll answer any question that you have and I'll be really honest with it.
Okay, Mamadou has a question.
First of all, thank you, Jasmine, for coming. I'm the club advisor and very happy to be that. I've been working with Ariel now for almost 3.5 years. But what you just said was really, really important to me. As principal of Upper School at Sidwell Friends, you just say that follow your dream is not a good advice. I've given it for like 20 plus years. So I feel really guilty having told so many kids, regardless of what your parents think, follow your dream. Can you expand on that? Because I really feel guilty now.
No, don't feel guilty. No, don't feel guilty. I think it's important to follow your dream. Absolutely. And go for the thing that is really exciting to you. Absolutely. But there will be a point where you just don't feel like doing it anymore. And back when I had jobs that I hated, I would just like wake up and not feel motivated. And there are some times when you get this far and you have your dreams coming true, and then there's still something inside of you that it's not, you don't feel as motivated all the time. And just know that it's okay. And maybe that's the point I want to make. Like, it's okay if you're following your dream and sometimes your day just feels really crappy. And sometimes you need like an extra coffee just to get the work done because it's just not clicking. It's okay. So follow the dreams and follow the passion, but don't be discouraged by the fact that it won't be the only thing that fulfills you in life. And it won't be, how do I say this? Like, there will be times where it's just terrible and it's okay. It's okay. Like, that's part of life. It won't be perfect all the time, even if you follow your dreams. And even if you're doing amazing, and even if you're raising $1 million, it won't always feel good. So know that advice is not bad advice. It's just, it's not the end of the advice. The rest of the statement should probably be follow your dreams and it will suck a whole lot, but it'll get better, and then go on vacation. So
I appreciate that. You really made me feel a little better. Follow it, but be realistic. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, our next question is from Sophia, and she asked, when did you first open your store?
We opened our doors in October of 2018, and we had the idea for it at the end of 2016. We signed a lease February 2017. So as you can see, it was like 18 months in between signing a lease and actually opening the doors to the store. It took a very, very long time to build out the space.
And Rose has a question. Rose, feel free to unmute and ask.
I was just wondering if you're ever at negative times, or if someone ever says something negative about your ideas or your business, how would you recommend responding to that, and how would you respond to that personally?
That's a really great question. I think because I'm helping breast cancer survivors, that a lot of people didn't say a lot of bad things to my face. But I did have people who would question if the business was actually going to open because it took so long to come to fruition. And I just probably learned through pageants or just through life experience to just smile and nod when they say those kind of things, and just know in my mind that I'm about to be amazing, and they'll catch me on TV and I'm not going to take it personally, and to just let it roll off your back. But if you get too stuck on those people who say negative things, then you might forget all the amazing positive things that your family is saying to you, that your friends are pouring into you, that you know about your true self. So I wouldn't let it slow you down.
Thank you.
Comedy's question is, I remember watching you on Miss USA in 2016. What motivated you to compete?
Oh, so I wanted to win a pageant so that I could start a nonprofit organization. That was my whole entire mission. I did not realize that it would allow me to meet so many amazing people and to network in such an incredible way. And for that, I'm super, super grateful. But I saw other women who won pageants, and I saw the way that it opened doors for them, and I wanted those same doors open for me. And now, though, when I look back, I realize that it was teaching me stage presence, it was teaching me networking skills, it was teaching me how to communicate one-on-one, and I've leveraged those skills to raise money. So a lot of the money that we raised was because of pitch competitions or one-on-one conversations with people. And I attribute those skills to pageantry.
Sophia's question is, what marketing tactics really helped you the most?
100% Facebook ads. So Facebook ads changed the game in our business. I'm sure you all know, like, there's a certain demographic of people that are on Facebook, but Facebook owns Instagram, and there's a completely different demographic that's on Instagram. So those Facebook ads allow us to reach a more mature demographic over on the Facebook side, which are typically our breast cancer patients, and a younger demographic on the Instagram side, which is typically our bra fit customers.
Elisa's question is there anyone who you would consider to be a role model in the business world?
Ooh, yes. I admire a lot of women who are examining the way that women have been perceived in business. So Arlen Hamilton is a venture capitalist who was at one point not too long ago homeless and living in her car. And now she helps to support women-owned businesses and startups and underrepresented founders to get money and to start their own companies. So I really admire Arlen. I admire women who are just thinking a little differently. Melissa Butler of the Lip Bar, she created this really cool vegan lipstick that's now in Target, but she was on Shark Tank. And on Shark Tank, they actually teased her and said nobody would ever buy it. And now she's like 30-year-old multimillionaire who's just enjoying her life. So I admire women who are sort of thinking about the space that they're in a new way.
Rose has another question, I believe. You can unmute if you'd like. Okay, we'll move on. So Elsa has asked, do you donate to breast cancer foundations from the business?
We partner with breast cancer foundations, but we donate to women who are uninsured and underinsured and can't afford our products or our services. We donate to them, and we do it in a really dignified way. We have a fund that we just keep money on a gift card, and if they let us know that they don't have the means, we just swipe the gift card at their payment. So it's not like a, here's a donation, ma'am. You know, it's just like a very discreet kind of thing that we do. We also help women who are experiencing like job loss. So during the government shutdown, there was a long furlough. And on the 20th day of the furlough, we gave away thousands of tampons and sanitary pads, just because we really value women and we want them, especially ones in our community, to have a beautiful life. So for us, we donate in a lot of really cool, creative ways.
Comdy's question is, where do you see your company in the next 5 to 10 years? And do you plan to expand beyond the DMV area?
Oh, 100%. So probably next year, we will have our ability to fit women no matter where they are. We also plan to roll out a subscription box model so they can get these items directly to their doorstep with dignity. And I really do see us as a global brand. I went to Barbados and learned that there are no mastectomy boutiques on the entire island of Barbados. So I'm excited to be able to change that. But there are women who've experienced breast cancer across the globe, and I would love to reach them.
Sophia has asked, how did you differentiate yourself from other entrepreneurs?
Ooh, pageantry helped because I think stage presence and having really great energy in front of judges and investors has helped a lot. But I also just try to do things where I feel the most comfortable. So when I did the global pitch competition, I had a feeling most of the founders are going to show up in like hoodies, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when I went on stage, I wore a hot pink mini dress that matched my deck. And there was like 2 big giant screens with my deck in the background. And I did it because I really wanted to stand out. So, and I did it because I'm probably more comfortable in a hot pink mini dress than I am anything else. So I just really wanted it to feel like myself. So that's what I really do. And I think I'm pretty much the same everywhere I go. And I think that investors realize that and appreciate that, and customers do too.
Sidra's question is, how do you expand a business globally so that it reaches almost everyone?
It's very hard, Sidra. If you ever find out, let me know. No, just kidding. It is really tough. It's really tough. It's really tough, especially because a lot of our product mix is reimbursable by health insurance, and health insurance plans across the globe are very, very different. So that's definitely a challenge that I am experiencing now and that I hope to soon overcome.
Brielle has a question.
Hi. What new and different products do you hope to develop in the future?
Oh, great question. I think coming out with our full line of post-mastectomy bras is a start, but then having a loungewear collection that supports that, and matching beautiful bottoms that match the bras would be a really, really great next step. And I also see us having a more accessible business. So as we think through helping breast cancer survivors, also helping women who are in wheelchairs or women who may be missing other body parts, I could see us transitioning into that. But women's health tech has a long way to go. And there are a lot of different problems that are available for us to sign. I see there's 38 other participants on this call. There's definitely 38 other startups that you could figure out how to start from looking at the issues that are going on in women's health tech. So it's a huge, huge industry that has almost no limit at this point.
Sidra's question is, if you're not in stores already, do you plan to be or want to be?
Yes, we had conversations to be in a very large department store before COVID happened. But then after COVID happened, we said it's probably not the best idea because we want to be able to fit women as we want it to. So I definitely plan to be in a department store near you very, very soon.
Sophia's question is, how much traveling does your job let you do?
Girl, that's the best part. I can pretty much work from anywhere unless I have to be in the boutique. So I've hired a store manager. I've spent, I think I went to Tulum for a week and I was able to work from Tulum. So that is really a great part about being an entrepreneur, is that you can work from anywhere that you have a laptop. And that is amazing. So right now I'm in Georgetown, but my boutique is probably 30 minutes down the road. And I can be here and check on my team and know that they're handling it. And then I can have some tea and watch like a Lifetime movie or something. So that's the best part about being an entrepreneur.
Are there any other questions people may have? I have another question for you, Jasmine. Okay. Can you tell us exactly how clients hear about your company and how you work with them?
Yes. So 19 medical facilities refer their patients to us. And what we do is we have a little prescription pad. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a doctor and they write you a little prescription. They write our patients prescriptions for bras. And then the patient brings a prescription into us. We fulfill the prescription by issuing them their prescribed item, which is a bra or a breast form. And then we send the insurance bill to the insurance company, and the insurance company pays us directly. And that's how we reach our patients, is through doctors' referrals. And then what was the second piece to the question?
I was just wondering how they hear about you, and then also how you work with them.
Yep. So, and that's how we work with them. We have a really beautiful fitting space. It's like the most beautiful girly lingerie boutique that you could ever imagine. It's pink. There's lace all over the walls. It's a really beautiful space, but it's a fully accredited medical facility. So it has everything inside that a doctor's office has. It just looks like a lingerie boutique. So that way, women who've experienced breast cancer and those who have not all shop together in one place. And for instance, how it would have been for me was like I could buy a bra in one fitting room, and my grandmother could have bought a bra and breast form in another fitting room. And we could both walk out with bags, and no one can say who has cancer and who does not.
Got it. Thank you. Sophia has a question. How much or what advice do you have on the sexism within the industry and how to handle it?
Ooh, yeah. So that's a really powerful question. I sort of see the opportunity in the fact that there are not a lot of women in the durable medical equipment industry, because it allows me to stand out. And no one has treated me negatively because of that, outside of the fact that maybe they underestimate me. But they could also be underestimating me because I wear dresses, or because I like Beyonce, or because I have curls in my hair or smile all the time. But like, I don't have a lot of time to allow that to slow me down. I have a mission that I'm really focused on. I have a company, I have a team, and my goal is bigger than any obstacle. And it's definitely bigger than sexism. And if anything, I'm going to use the fact that I'm different to my advantage. And I'm going to reach people who are like me, customers who are like me, and they will see what's authentic and what's not. And I think that's really helped for us to be so different in this industry, because previously it's been older men who are building these prosthetics and they don't pay attention to what a woman wants. They have no idea. But we are in the fitting room with them every day, and we have breasts too. So we can kind of guide products way beyond our competitors. So for that, I think we use it to our advantage. So yeah, flip the script.
Sidra's question is, do you think you will travel to other countries and show big department stores your prototype?
Ooh, only if they want to sign a contract with us. In that case, yes.
Jasmine has a question.
Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine Flowers. Wow, what a cool name.
Thank you. My question for you is, Amazon has a reputation of not working well with businesses that are smaller than them, which is basically almost everything else. And I was wondering, if you are on Amazon, or if you plan to be, how do you plan to work with Amazon, even though it has a reputation like that? Because there are a lot of customers that use their service.
You are absolutely right. And that has been a huge founder dilemma. We are not on Amazon, and we will probably not venture onto Amazon just because of the exact reasons that you've pointed out. We've heard that and seen it in our industry. And for that reason, I will probably opt out of Amazon. I still like Prime though. I still like Fresh, but I probably won't be putting my products up.
Sophia's asked, how do you handle the stress?
Take a nap. I take a nap. I go for a long walk. I talk to my parents about what's going on. And I've gotten to this thing with my dad where we say, are you red, yellow, or green? Red is like really bad day. Yellow is like, I just need to share this. Green is like, oh, everything is great. This is all good news. So that way he kind of knows how to guide the conversation. And then I also tell my dad, like, if I'm just venting or if I need advice, because that's two completely different conversations. I don't know if you guys have ever vented to someone and then they just give you advice and you're like, oh, I didn't really want that. I just wanted to tell you about how bad this was and get it out. So I talk to my dad a whole lot, and I take naps and I go for long walks, and that really helps.
Sophie's question is, how did you get in touch with these medical facilities that refer their patients to you? And can you explain more on that experience?
Yes. So I'm fortunate that my business partner is a breast surgeon. So that's been helpful. But what we did was actually kind of sneaky. So you can't pay doctors to send their patients to you. Of course, it's illegal. But what we did was we sent them bra-shaped cookies in a box. And it was with information about the business and the prescription pad. So we sent them everything with pink bra cookies on top. And we gave enough for all of their office to have bra cookies. And I think that really helped to break the ice so that they got a really great opportunity to learn what we were about. And it stayed within every rule that we could ever follow. And they remembered us. So now when it comes to sending their patients to pharmacy or send them to the place that gives them cookies every season, they opt to go to the cookie place.
That's really smart. Elisa's question is, did you ever consider other ideas, or was selling bras for breast cancer survivors always your goal?
No. So when I was just about your age, I figured I was going to have a store and I really wanted it to be a vintage boutique. I was all about wearing vintage clothes. I would go to a thrift every weekend with my allowance. And I just really liked the feeling of wearing clothes that had a story. And I wanted to have a store that had a story and cool music. And I get that now with the business that I've created, but I kind of figured it was going to be all about like vintage designer clothes.
Our next question is from Sophia, and she has asked, are you always working? Is it like a 9-to-5 job, but online? And do you ever have time for yourself?
I work a lot. Yeah. I work a lot and it doesn't really ever turn off because ultimately, even though I have a boutique and a boutique manager, the buck stops with me and I'm responsible. So there's been plenty of nights where I've had like 5 hours of sleep as I was really getting it off the ground. And now my phone ringer is always on and I don't ever really feel comfortable until the boutique is closed for the night. And even then, you just have to be careful because you're like, wow, what if someone breaks in? And just like, there's a lot of thoughts that go through your mind. So you don't really have a lot of time for it to just linger or to not think about it. You're probably always going to think about it, but it's okay. If it's something that you quite enjoy, then it's not so bad.
And we have 2 more questions. Our second to last one is from Merritt, and they ask, since your company is centered around women and very female-based, how do you get male investors and contributors involved and interested in your company?
Good question. That was really tough because there are a lot of women on this call. But when I was explaining to men why a woman who has breast cancer needs a bra still, it was like, you have to start from the very beginning. And then they said, okay, so she has a prosthetic, but where does it go? And these kind of questions were kind of challenging. But once I realized that many men that I was explaining this to had the same type of questions, I was able to develop a positive script that didn't make them feel silly for asking because it's a valid question. But it also didn't make me feel like I was in elementary school starting from the beginning. But I will say, of the 7 investors that I have, only one is a man. And he's a man who created like a wearable tracker for athletes. So he gets it. But it was really, really tough. We would spend a lot of our time in the conversation just like, how does she put a bra on? It was just bad. But over time, you know, like it gets better. You figure out an easier way to explain things.
And so our last question from Comedy is, how important is off time, and has being based in the DMV been hard in terms of sales versus being based in LA or New York?
So being based in the DMV is actually an opportune place because this area has one of the highest diagnosis rates for breast cancer. So I knew that if my business could do well here, then it was saying a lot about the population mix that I might find in other places. So in that respect, it was fine. And then how important is off time? Off time is super critical to just being a human being, to being able to get rest and not feel overwhelmed with stress. It's super critical. the way I do my life now is I have different days of the week that serve a different purpose. So Monday, I check with my internal team. Tuesday is external team. Wednesday, it's typically press or interviews or fun Zoom chats like this. And then Thursday, Friday, I leave open. Saturday, I'm in the boutique. And then Sunday is a day of rest. And I've been doing that for about a month, and it's been working quite well.
Great. Well, please join me in thanking Jasmine for sharing her entrepreneurial journey with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. It was so great to meet you all, and definitely stay ambitious. Keep focused on what it is that you want to do, and just dream so big about whatever it is on your heart. Just view it times 100 as if there is absolutely no limit, and you can definitely do it.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. And thanks everyone for joining for another Girls Who Start Zoom chat. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and check out our website for information about additional Zoom conferences and other upcoming events. And also, Jasmine, do you want to share your Instagram with everyone?
Yes, you can follow my company at Cherry Blossom Intimates on Insta, and you can follow me personally, but I'm kind of a snooze over there, but you can follow me, Jasmine in DC on Instagram.
Thank you. And with that, I'll pass it on to Brielle.
Just a reminder to everyone, if you want to start your own Girls Who Start chapter, you can go to the Girls Who Start website, which is in the chat, or just reach out through DM or Instagram or wherever. And thank you so much again to Jasmine.
Thank you guys. This was so fun.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.